It equals 1?
Alright, the limit as x approaches 0 of sine 6x over 2x. Are these equal?
No. I'm sad face.
What can I do about that?
Fix it.
I can fix it. How?
I don't know.
Multiply.
You ready to see how we fix it?
No.
Yeah.
I want this to be what?
6x.
I want it to be 6x. What could I multiply to make it 6x? So now what I have is 3 sine 6x over 6x. This gives me 1. And now I have 3 times 1, which is
3. Ooh,
okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't even have anything written down.
4.5.
Let's take a look at 12. You want to look at 12?
I'm looking at it.
Does it look scary?
Not
Hell yeah. Oh no, it's 1, miss. It's 1.
It's 1. Wait, let's. No, but wait. X is approaching negative part of that.
Right, but I have tangent, right? Is that going to be a problem?
Yeah.
Maybe. Alright, so what is one thing that I know for sure? What is the one property I can keep turning back to?
That one.
This one.
That one.
What property is that?
What's that?
It's a limit. It's just a limit that you would be assumed to know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, they're going to assume that you know this. You don't need to prove it, you just need to know it. Okay? So what I do here is I say, hey, tangent is sine over cosine. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say sine of x plus pi over 2 over cosine of, oh, that was not good. Cosine of, okay, you know what you want to take out. There we go. Cosine of x plus pi over 2 all times x plus pi over 2. We're okay with this?
Sure.
Now is this going to 0?
No.
No, but when I plug it in, what do these go to? The
Wait,
insides will go to 0, just like I would here. Are you with me now?
Yes.
So this part right here is what? When I take the limit.
1.
Do we see that?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Wait, I just have a question.
What's your question?
You did on the bottom cosine x plus pi over 2 and times x plus pi over 2. Where did you get the other x plus pi over 2?
Because the
And then-
tangent.
Tangent is this.
Uh-huh.
So when I'm converting it, this goes to these two.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
That makes sense.
Does that make sense? Alright, so I know that this right here gives me 1. What is cosine of x plus pi over 2 when x is negative pi over 2? Well, this is cosine of 0, and according to your plate, what is cosine of 0?
1.
Right? Cosine of 0 is 1. So what is 1 times 1?
1. Oh my gosh. There, stupid. There.
So you did, the green is 1,
Okay.
and then what else was 1?
Why did you say that?
Just a little purple?
Right, so this was 1, this is what I had left over. When I plug in negative pi over 2, this becomes cosine of 0, and that's 1. Okay? If you want to, avoid graphing, or if you can't have your calculator on the particular part of the AP exam, this is how you're supposed to do it.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
Sure, maybe?
I'm undefined.
I'm undefined.
You're undefined?
Oh, miss.
You are pretty
He's
young.
irrational.
He's irrational. Right? Questions on this? Okay, so what I did is I took tangent, made it sine over cosine. Now I have that sine of the same thing over that same thing, and I can make it 1 because this causes the inside to go to 0, just like here the x's were going to 0. Is that? Okay, that's why I can do it. Even though this isn't an approaching 0, I can say this is 1 because when I put that in, the inside is approaching 0. Just like the inside here is approaching 0.
And what did you do with the cosine that was left over? Yeah.
I plugged in negative pi over 2.
Oh, you plug it in.
So, cosine of negative pi over 2 plus pi over 2 is equal to cosine of 0, and we know that that is equal to 1. So now I have 1 times 1, and that's just 1. Madeline, you look confused.
Yeah.
confused?
Wait, no, that's me.
I kind of get it.
You kind of get it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Takes a while.
Alan says can we take a break?
Alan says, can we take a break? Well, let me just show you one more resource, and then I'll give you the next Infuse Learning quiz, and you can walk around once you're done with that quiz. Does that make sense? Okay? All right.
Miss
So,
Jumbo?
yes.
Are you going to teach cosine class?
What?
Are you going to reteach this in class?
No, that's why we have a video.
Wow.
We're not sure.
No, they have to go home. Okay. All right, so there's a link right here. This is our wiki space. We'll talk a little bit more as we go. You are all invited to be members. You can add your own resources, add your own videos, whatever you want. What I found was really helpful was this site right here. These are all the limits that I can assume. You don't need to prove them, you can just assume them. So I can assume that the limit as x approaches 0 of tan of x over x is equal to 1. Or x over tan of x. Equals 1. These are all the things that I can assume. Yeah, I have this link though on the wiki. Okay? If you find something else that has more resources for this kind of stuff, you now can edit that page just like I can. So if you find a YouTube video or something that's really helpful for doing these problems, you can just log in, go to this Saturday study session, and then push edit, and you can add text, you can add links to videos, you can add whatever you want. Whatever you find, this will be a resource that we can all use to do this stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And this is good, especially if you're posting what you're using to do your homework, because then I can check to see if it's a good resource.
legit.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So whatever you're finding to do your homework or any resources that you have, go ahead and add them to the page that it goes with, so I can make sure and check it out and that it's a good resource for you to use. Does that make sense? Okay, so everybody should go back to the Infuse Learning site. Okay, I think this one's a little bit shorter.
You want to turn this off now?
Another quiz.
Or so-
Right.
Do you want
There
me
you
to turn
go.
this off now then?
Yes.